Think your business plan is just a relic from your startup days? Think again. A well thought out plan is the roadmap to growth, even for established businesses. Welcome to Dollars and Dreams, the podcast designed to empower you to take control of your personal and business finance. You know, the very thought of money and finance can often send chills down your spine and stir up fear of the unknown. But let's change that narrative together. Through this podcast, my goal is to not only to provide you with useful information, but also to inspire and motivate you to take action towards your own financial goals. Let's rewrite your money story together. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Dollars and Dreams. You may have noticed that today's podcast is coming to you on a Tuesday instead of on a Wednesday. And that's because I've got some really exciting news. Dollars and Dreams is now going to be released on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So I'm going to do 2 episodes a week. I know I'm a little bit crazy. I have a lot of work to do and I've just doubled my workloads in podcasts. The reason that we're doing that is we've had a number of people reach out and say, Jen, I love your podcast, but I'm actually not interested in all the business stuff and I don't have a business. I'm never going to have a business. So I'm actually turned off. And then when I come back, I've missed something that I really would have liked to have listened to. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to break our podcasts up. Tuesday's podcast will be all around everything to do with business. So how to make your business more profitable, how to market your business and all of those sorts of things. Thursday's podcast will all be about personal finance. So how to pay off debt, how to build your own wealth, how to save for retirement, how to invest. So if you're a business owner and you only want to listen to my help on businesses, you need to join me on a Tuesday. But if you're a person that is looking for help with your own personal wealth creation, come join me on Thursdays. But if you're a business owner who needs personal one, you need to join in on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So today's episode is the first of our segmented ones. So today's episode is a business one and it's around your business plan. So I mentioned last week that the 2 things that I see that most business owners don't do and don't do well is a marketing plan and a business plan. So in our podcast last week, I went through a marketing plan. If you haven't listened to that, it's about getting your marketing plan onto one page, 9 squares to fill in, and you've got your whole marketing plan in front of you, a 1-page document that's usable instead of that 80, 90-page document that goes at the bottom of your drawer. Today, we're going to go through the business plan. Now, a lot of accountants, when you work with them, will do your business plan first and then do your marketing plan. I always do your marketing plan first and then we move into the business plan. And that will become apparent why I do it that way when we move further into what is a business plan. As I said last week, I talked about the marketing plan. If you don't have a marketing plan, you need to go and listen to that, download my 1-page marketing plan template, because it's really important that you know who your ideal client is so that you can develop this business plan to work out what you need to do to make your client happy, to get that client coming back to you all the time. So we've all heard the statistics of how many businesses fail in the first 12 months or the first 3 years. And they're pretty horrendous. But the one that I find that is more concerning is that only 30% of all businesses will survive more than 10 years. That means that after 10 years, 70% or 7 out of every 10 businesses are no longer in existence. The statistics also say that of those businesses that fail, 50% of them were actually profitable. which means that the business owners have closed their business for one of two reasons. The business has run its life and they're ready to retire, or business was too hard. And one of the things that I hear from my clients quite often is, I should just go and get a job. It's so much easier, or working for somebody else is less of a hassle, or running a business can be so hard and draining. And they're the people that fall into that 70% that fail, and 50% of them are profitable. So most people think that if you survived for the first 3 or 4 years that you're okay. And that's not the case. And it's not the case because as business owners, you have to be constantly changing with the environment that you work in. And one of my sayings I always have here with my business, because when I started as an accountant 30-something years ago, and the something's getting higher and higher now, everything was done paper. We didn't even have computers. We had one big, massive mainframe computer, and that was it. The rest of it we did on spreadsheets and things. And we had 2 computers at either end of the office, and it would be what we called twin floppies. And so for the people that don't even know what a floppy disk is, it's this little flimsy thing that you used to put and it used to spin around. So you'd have twin floppies. One, you'd go up with the program file, and then the other one to save it, because there was no hard drive or anything on these computers. If as an accounting firm we tried to still run our business the way we did 30-something years ago, we just wouldn't be in business anymore. So my saying that I always have when people say to me, why are you going into the digital space? Why are you worrying about social media? Why are you doing podcasts? An accountant doesn't need to do a podcast. And of course, my business has changed over the years where I'm now more into an educational thing. I want to help my clients be better at their business. And I'm not talking the physical work that they do as their business, but running their business and relieving the stress that business has. And so when people say that to me, I always say, I don't want to be the next Video Easy. So for those of you who are young enough to not know what Video Easy was, and that was before we had streaming services. If you wanted to watch a movie and you didn't see it at the cinemas, you would go to a hire place. Video Easy was the big one, and you would hire, I don't even know what they were called now. They weren't CDs back then, but you would hire the tape, and you'd go home, you'd put it into your machine, you would watch the movie, and the next day you'd take it back, and it cost you $7, $8 or whatever it was. Once the streaming services came in, Video Easy had no purpose in life. So they've closed down, and they didn't adapt to the market. I'm not sure how they could have, but Video Easy probably doesn't exist anywhere in the world anymore. I always say if I don't adapt to the market, I'm going to be the next Video Easy, and that's not something that I've worked hard to build a business for. So part of being in a business is having to look at trends and things that happen in your own industry. But that's what a business plan gets you to do. And as I said in the introduction to this podcast, most people think that the only time they have to do a business plan is when they're in startup phase or they're applying for some reasonably large finance. Quite often the lenders, if you're asking for a lot of money compared to what your business makes, they will ask for a business plan. They will generally ask for a business plan when you haven't even traded yet, so you're in startup phase. And most people think that's the only time that you need to do it. I'm here to say nothing can be further from the truth. So a business plan is something that you should be doing with your business every year. So every year at the start of the financial year, because I'm an accountant and everything wraps around a financial year, I do the business plan of my business. Now, some of those things on that business plan don't change, but because trends and things do, my business plan does change. It's also because I have sometimes changed direction. So I need to work out what my new key performance indicators, or KPIs we call them, I need to work out what they are so I can benchmark if I'm actually achieving my goals. So a business plan is something that you should do annually because it is the roadmap for your business. And like any trip, you don't necessarily need a roadmap, but the chances of getting lost are significantly less if you have a map with you. And there's not too many people now that don't jump in the car and straight away put the destination in on their maps or use their navigator in their car. And I always say to businesses that I work with that your business plan is like a pilot. You go, you jump in a plane. If your pilot didn't have a flight plan, then he probably wouldn't land in the airport that you'd bought a ticket to. So there is no pilot that would ever sit down in the plane without a flight plan. And so the business plan is the same thing for your business. You will get somewhere. It just may not be where you want to be. And there's no doubt that, and I think I used this analogy in last week's podcast, in 10 years' time, you will arrive somewhere with your business. It's just whether that's where you wanted to arrive at. And 35% of businesses, so that's half of the 70% that we talked about earlier, fail without making a profit. Did they have a business plan? I don't know. And business plan isn't a guarantee that you're not going to fail at your business. So 30% of businesses that have a business plan actually grow faster than any of the others. So 30% of all businesses, if they have a business plan, will see growth faster. And of those 30%, they have more control, and business anxiety is a real thing where people feel overwhelmed by everything that they've got to do in a business, particularly the mum and dad businesses or the very small businesses, because those business owners wear so many hats. They wear their marketing hat, they wear their CFO hat, they wear their CEO hat, they wear their sales hat, they wear their doing hat, whatever they are in business. And the business plan will give you an action, who's going to do what by when. And it gives you that sense that you're in control again. And the other thing to keep in mind is that 71% of the fastest growing businesses actually have a business plan. Now, that's a statistic, so you can't beat statistics because business plans give you that ability to grow because it gives you focus, it gives you direction, it gives you motivation. And I get it. A business plan seems daunting. And if you've ever Googled a business plan, and I Googled one the other day in preparation for this podcast, because it's not something that I do anymore because I've got my own version of a business plan that I use. I was gobsmacked to see that those business plans that are on Google that get you to do it are 60 and 70 pages long. Now, they would take you days and days to create. Our business plan, which is one, sometimes it extends to 2 pages depending on how many things you want to bring into it. We do a planning session with our clients and we do that in 4 hours. We go from sitting down and all the niceties and going through what needs to be done. 4 hours later, our clients walk out with a business plan that is 1 to 2 pages. And that plan is actually a useful plan because the 1-page marketing plan that we did last week, being that it's only 1 or 2 pages, you can put it somewhere that you see it. You can put it somewhere that you can understand it and read it on a daily or weekly basis. And it gives you focus that a 70, 80, 90-page plan that's going to be in your bottom drawer is not going to give you. The business plans on Google, when I search them, have a lot of stuff that is not going to do anything for you as a business owner to grow your business, to give you the 3 freedoms you need. And remember, those 3 freedoms are financial freedom, time freedom, and mind freedom. And of course, the mind freedom is the overwhelming one, because that's the one where you'll wake up in the middle of the night thinking that you need to do something, or you knock off work and you're still thinking about work, or as you're having dinner with the kids, you go, oh, I haven't done that. I have to go and do that straight after dinner. We've all been there. But a business plan will stop that, because it will give you tasks that need to be done, and done within the time frame, so that you can tick off boxes and have a process for what you're going to do. The business plan that we use is 12 squares, and it's 12 squares is all you need to do to work it out. So our marketing plan last week was 9 squares, and this one's 12. So imagine 21 squares in total, and you've got your marketing plan and a business plan in place, which means that you're going to fall into that 71% of companies that grow faster because they have a business plan in place. So don't put it off. If you want a copy of our business plan, just reach out to us and I can send you a copy so that you can do it yourself. So the other thing that a business plan does, we talked about it being your map and giving you the key points and things that you need to do. It actually gives you the ability to make critical decisions ahead of time. So if you do your business plan and you need to get your growth to X amount of sales in 12 months' time, you can then map backwards to see that you need to get in so much stock, and when you get it in, which means you need so many more employees or you need so many more customers. So instead of being under the pump because a decision has to be made quickly, business plan will then give you the advanced warning. And most people, when they're in business, it's the decisions that need to be made on the run that get made poorly. When you don't think about the long-term consequences of things, you don't cope well. Or if the sales are growing, you haven't thought about that you might need more machinery. So all of a sudden you're trying to get finance to get machinery. And then you've got customers that are getting cranky because you haven't got sales to them, or you haven't got the product to them, or you're not showing up on site. And so what the business plan does is it lets you foresee any shortcomings in your business so that you can put a strategy in place to get those fixed up before they become an issue. The business plan also allows you to iron out any kinks that you've got in your business, and we all have those. It could very well be that you can see that there's going to be an issue with product because it's a seasonal product you do. So you need to think about how you're going to store it beforehand, or there's a shutdown of one of your suppliers for a month and you need to make sure that you've got product in before that happens. So the business plan lets you iron out all those kinks so that you are not under the pump, which is the mind freedom that you lose there that we talked about earlier. And one of the biggest mistakes that we see people do is by not doing a business plan, they actually don't do market research. And again, people will talk to you about market research is for startup companies. And it's definitely not just for startup companies. It's about looking at whether you have the same direction for your business. Is your market moving somewhere else? And I always say, I have a saying here that in this business, a lot of people will look at me and go, you're an accountant. Why do you need to do what you do? And it's because I keep morphing my business to keep up with what is happening in the trends in the industry. When I was a trainee, we never educated our clients. We didn't teach them how to do things. We didn't show them how to understand their financial statements or how to look at a cash flow so that they can make predictions of what they need. But our industry has changed, and the accountants that didn't want to change and didn't want to help their clients and educate are losing their market share, and that's not something that I ever want to do. So a business plan for me is looking at what my future looks like. Where does my industry take me? What does my consumer, which is my clients, want from me so that I can help them be better at their own business? When I started as an accountant way back when, we didn't have computers. There was no desktop computers back then in our offices. We had one massive big mainframe and we had a data entry person. But for the rest of us, we used to do all our financial statements on a cash book system. So you'd go and you'd put all your entries in, you'd make sure it all balanced, create a financial statements from there, which were typed up by our secretaries on paper with carbon in it, and then we'd have to proofread it, proof add it. If we tried to run our accounting practice the same way now, we just wouldn't have any clients. Imagine saying to a client, oh, I've got to type up your financial statements. We have software that does that. We all have a laptop on our desk. I have a laptop and 2 dumb screens, so I work off 3 screens. And I always joke and say the amount of tabs that I have open on mine, because I'm not great at shutting tabs because I'm forever researching things. I really need about 6 screens to be able to operate. And so if I didn't change my business, I wouldn't have been able to continue having my business grow and grow as successfully as it is. So everybody in business needs to continually look at what their consumer wants. What do they need? Is their business adapting? And that's what your business plan does. So it addresses the potential pitfalls that your business may have in the next couple of years. It addresses who your ideal client is. And remember, that was the work that we did last week as part of our marketing plan. As I said, it lets you iron out any kinks. It also gives you advanced warnings of what you need to do to keep your business moving. So the first thing that we do in our business plans is we always get you to look at the purpose of your business. Why does your business exist? Not for you, but for your consumer. And the reason that we always say you should look at it from your consumer's point of view is because if your consumer's pain point or issues are solved, you will be successful. And so we try to keep that purpose a very short statement, maybe 5-6 words, so that you can relay that in any of your marketing, or you put that message out so that people resonate with it, so it brings in the client that you want. So an example here is Disney. And we have all heard of Disneyland or Disney World. And Disney's purpose is to make people happy. That's it, to make people happy. So that is the driving force behind everything that they do with their business. It's not to give them the fastest ride. It's not to give them the longest fall, or it's nothing like that. It is to make people happy. The idea behind Disney is that people come to the theme parks and they walk out that day, at the end of that day, with a smile on their face and they're happy. Now, that is a really simple message to convey to your consumer. In this case, Disney conveying it to people that are going to come to their theme park. But it's also something that will keep you on point, because every time you stray, Disney would say, does that make my consumer happy? And if the answer is no, they wouldn't do it. So it is very important that when you look at your purpose of your business, you are looking at it from your consumer's point of view. And it's also then makes you look at, how can I do it differently to my competitors? And so if your competitors aren't filling that hole of what your consumer wants, then that leaves the market open for you to step in. The next thing that we're looking at in your business plans in the next square is your vision. Now, your vision is how you would describe your business to be, or how you want it to look in 10 years' time. So it's that big end goal, and we call that the big kahuna or the BHAG. What are you working towards? What's that goal? Using the example of the plane, when you're getting on the plane, you sit in that seat and strap your seatbelt in. What's your destination? If that's the Greek Isles or Iceland or Finland, it is what it is. Where do you want to land? So your vision is where you want your business to land in 5 or 10 years' time. This is broken down into bite-sized chunks in your business plan. So we look at the big plan of where you want to be in 5 to 10 years. And I personally always say 10 years because it makes it a really big goal and it gives people a really good driving point. Think back 10 years. It's not a long period of time. So then what we do is we come back to where does your business need to be in 1 year's time in order to reach that 10-year goal. The 1 year then is broken down into 90-day goals. So your first 90 days, your second 90 days, your 30 90 days, and then your final one, which gets you to 12 months. Your vision needs to be measurable. You can't have blanket statements that, oh, I want to be the best plumber. I want to have the most clients in my hairdressing salon. You can't measure that. So your vision needs to be measurable and it needs to mean something to you. So it's no point, let's say my accounting practice and I say, I want to be the biggest accounting practice in New South Wales. I don't even know what somebody else's practice does, let alone what is it? The biggest practice, is it number of staff? Is it profit? Is it turnover? Is it, I don't know, stars, number of stars on Google? The biggest practice isn't measurable. However, if I said I want to have sales of $5 million in 10 years' time, that gives me something to benchmark. Does it mean something to me? Money's not a huge thing to me, so that wouldn't be my benchmark. My benchmark might be that I want to have clients that have reached certain income levels. It might be that I want to have a number of new sales in my digital platform. And one of my benchmarks for the next 12 months is I want to have 1,000 new clients on my digital platform. So that is measurable and it means something to me because my aim is to help people get better at what they do with their finances. So if I can help 1,000 people a year within the next 10 years, which is my goal, I can service and help 10,000 small business owners be better at what they do. And so my goal is to service 10,000 new clients so that they're all better at being better at their business. And is that achievable? Yes, it is, because I can easily count the number of people that come through my courses and come join me and will work with me. And so it's measurable. Why is it important to me? Because my goal with my business, if what I want to achieve for my own personal satisfaction, is to make people better at being better at their own business. Make people more profitable, give them a better cash flow, give them that time and mind freedom where they're not stressing about business, where they feel in control and where they love their business. So that is something that means something to me. And the measure of that is, can I get 10,000 people through my courses in the next 10 years? So again, my vision is to get 10,000 small businesses being better at their business. So it's measurable and it means something to me. So that is my vision. And why do I want to achieve that? And this is something that you need to think about in your business. And it's because it's important to me for people to understand business doesn't have to be hard. There's times that it's time consuming. There's times that it feels overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so for me, it's about showing people that you can run a business without all the overwhelm and the confusion that comes with it. The next square in our business plan is your values. Now, the values part of a business plan is just working out what your own personal values are. My personal values are to be authentic, to be realistic. I'm never going to be one of those people that gets out there and says, I can make your business double its income in 12 months. It may, but I'm not going to say that because for some people it can't. So my value is about being authentic. It's about being realistic, but it's also about being caring and empathetic. So I want people to be able to say to me, I'm struggling at this, because we all struggle at something in life. I'm good at running a business. I'm good at being an accountant. I'm good with money, but I'm also hopeless at other things. And I say to people, this is my thing. I don't get it. You need to show it for me. And the big learning curve that I've had in the last 12 months is marketing. I've never had to do marketing. So doing these podcasts and things, I love talking to people, so it's nice and easy. But how do I market it? How do I get it out there? How do I say to people, I'm good at helping you fix your business? I get people come into my office and they sit in front of me because they've heard from people that I work with that go, see, Jen, she can help you with the business. But the marketing side of that, I have never been great at doing. So it's something that I'm learning, and it's something that it holds dear to me, that I struggle with things, so other people are going to struggle with what I'm good at doing. So your values is the part of the business plan that shouldn't really change. I'd like to think that your values are what's deep inside you. It's the people. I said one of my values is that I want to always be authentic. I'm very much an open book. If I'm having trouble with something, and I'll tell you I'm having trouble with something, if I find parts of my business not all that enjoyable, I'll say to people, it's not just you, it's me. I don't find that part of my business enjoyable either. But it's important that when you do your business plan, you are looking at your values. What do you hold dear? What is in your heart when you're looking at your business? And that's the reason that they shouldn't change, because I'd like to think that people's values don't change, or they shouldn't change. If you want to be a good person, you're a good person. Or if you're an ethical person, you're an ethical person. You can't change that. You can't take that your values are a moving target. So that one for me has always been an easy part of the business plan, because most people are quite aware of what their values are. And then, of course, the part that everybody hates when I get to it and I go, it's budget time. You do have to do a budget as part of your business plan, but we pull out not a whole budget. We don't dive into, you can spend this much on your printing and stationery, this much on your materials, this much on whatever. We pull out just some, as I said earlier, KPIs, so key performance indicators. What's your sale? What's your gross profit margin? What's your profit? What are your overheads? And those sorts of things. The idea behind just picking a few targets is if you can pick those 4 or 5 KPIs, they will drive everything else anyway. And I like to keep business simple. If you're going to sit with a business plan and dwell over how much am I going to spend on wages when I don't even know how many staff I'm going to have, because I don't know how much sales I'm going to have. Therefore, I don't know how much soup is going to be, how much my printing and stationery, what happens, and everybody gets overwhelmed because you're bogged down there. But if we pick out 4 or 5 key performance indicators, everything else falls into place. And so what that allows you to do is do a high level or a bird's eye view of your business, which again means that you don't get bogged down, you don't get overwhelmed, and you can go, I met that target, I'm okay. We also look at, in one of the next squares, who your avatar is. And that one would be a nice simple one because you would have done your marketing plan. Remember, one of our squares in our marketing plan last week was working out who our avatar was, or our ideal client. The reason we do that is, again, that's the key to growing your business, because if you're talking to your avatar, building your business around your avatar, the right consumer will be attracted to your business. The other thing that we look at, of course, is your value proposition to your ideal client. And that's where I said before, the reason that people come to me when they work with me is because I am authentic with them. I am understanding of the struggles that they have. I'm here to help. I'm not here to lecture or point the finger that you didn't do what I told you to do. If my client hasn't done what I've asked them to do to help them, That's on them. It's not on me. And I think we can only do so much. And that saying about lead a horse to water is a really important saying that we need to remember. But if you have a great value proposition, people come to you because they want what you have. And that might be that you have great customer service, the best product for the price, or it could be that you solve a problem for them. So it's important when you're doing your business plan that you work out your value proposition to your client, because that's why people come to you. The other thing that we always do is, and this is really important no matter where your business is along its path of development, is what we call a SWOT analysis. So that's your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And these are the things that you need to do all the time. And we do a SWOT analysis here on us probably every 6 months. It's just one of those things that I do, because the opportunity thing is the one that I'm really fascinated with. What opportunities are out there for me as a business owner or an entrepreneur, through my digital platform, through my business here? What opportunities are there that I can jump on? And I have to say that's how I ended up on a podcast, because I could see there was an opportunity that I could get knowledge out to people, that there's only so many people you can see in a day or so many people you can sit down with. But I thought that's an opportunity for me to educate people without it costing them money, without it impacting on their business and their life. And people don't want to travel. Your demographic, when you operate in a physical place, is captured by a certain kilometre radius. So the podcasting for me was a great way for me to get information and help out to people without it being limited to here. The SWOT analysis also looks at what your strengths are, because if we don't keep looking at our strengths, we don't know what to push. But it also looks at what we call our weaknesses, or our things where we need to improve. We try to be a little bit more political with that, but it looks at if you can improve 1% of your business daily, after 100 days, you have improved those weaknesses by 100%. That doesn't mean to say you're perfect, and no business is perfect. And any business that says that they are is having themselves on. We all make mistakes because we're human. We all have things that we can improve on. But it gives you that ability to know what your weaknesses are, so you can fill the gap before it costs you your business or your consumer base. And the most critical challenge, of course, is looking at what's going to move the needle of your business. Because if you don't move the needle of your business, you actually don't make more money. You actually don't reach your targets. And that, of course, is the action plan. So it's no point doing a marketing plan and then doing your business plan and they're not doing. So failure to implement is one of the key things that I find with most small business owners, is they just don't do it. So when you have a big business, you have your board of directors and they'll come up with what they want done. They just send the directive down to the manager. The manager sends it down to the supervisor sends it down. And so it goes through the thing. If the staff don't do it, the supervisor gets the butt kicked by manager, the manager gets their butt kicked up the chain. So in big businesses, plans get implemented because somebody's job is to make sure it's implemented. Small businesses where we're already wearing so many hats, the failure to implement percentage is really high, because we do our business plan, we come up with our action plan, but then we get busy doing our business. And nothing changes if you don't implement your action plan, because you haven't solved anything. So failure to implement will always be the down draw of every business owner, because we're busy. And so that's when the overwhelm comes in, because we go, we haven't changed anything. We've still got to do that. We haven't put this in place. We haven't done that. So I always say with all of my clients, be realistic with your 90-day plans. I always take it one step further, because as my husband says, I'm an overachiever. I get my 90-day plans, but then I break it down into monthly, and then I break it down into weekly, and I break it down into daily. And I have a great little saying every time I feel overwhelmed with what I've got to get done: one day, one task, one goal. sorry, that's the wrong way to do it. 1 day, 1 goal, 1 task. So you're only ever working on one thing, one task, reaching towards that one goal in that 1 day. And so every time I look at what needs to be done, I just break it down. So if you've got 90 days, really, all you've got to do is one task a day. And if you can do one task in 90 days, you've actually done 90 tasks. Instead of what you're probably doing now is, next week I'll have a whole day and I'll get rid of a whole heap of stuff. All you've got to do is commit to a small amount every single day to do that one task. At the end of the day, it's done. And we all fall back into our comfort zones when we're looking at our business and probably pretty much everything in life. And so I found before I started doing this with my one task, one goal, 1 day thing was I get in of a morning and I knew that I needed to do things that were pushing me out of my comfort zone. As I said, I'm not great at marketing. I don't enjoy it. I find it overwhelming. It's not my training. Whereas accounting is my training. So I'd get in, I go, I need to create some social media posts, or I need to create a workbook for my course that's coming up, or I need to do this. And I just sit there and then I go, all right, first thing I'm going to do is, go through my emails, allocate anything that came in. Then I'm going to do accounting. I'm going to get that job done. I'll get that job reviewed. I'll talk to that client. I'll meet with that client to make sure that they've done what they were supposed to do. So after lunch, I can sit and do my marketing. What it meant I was doing was I was putting myself back in my comfort zone, because in my comfort zone, I didn't have to think about what needed to be done. But it also meant that by the time I spoke to that client, they'd want something else done. So then I'd have to go and do that. And all of a sudden it was 5 o'clock and the day was done. And so I go, tomorrow I'll do that workbook that I need for the course. And so then it becomes time critical, because the course was going to start in a week's time and I still haven't got it. I haven't sent it up I'm not very good at making things look pretty. So we use an outsourced department for that. And I'd be sending it up to them saying, I need it back. My course starts in 2 days. And it would come back, there'd be mistakes, and then I'd feel under pressure and I'd feel the overwhelm. Doing my business plan now, I work out what things I've got to get done in that 90 days. We're launching a new course in July, 1st of July. We've got 2 new courses running. We've got a business growth, teaching people how to do things, but we've also got a 4-week intensive, create your marketing plan, create your business plan, and I'll put more out about that in the next couple of weeks. But I now know that I have to have that finished and written by the end of this month. That gives me a whole month then to get the workbooks up to our VA, to get graphic designed, get all the programming done, get everything done. A couple of years ago, I would have been doing that the week before. So I have a task each day. So I came in today and I knew I needed to get one of the worksheets done. That's the only thing I had to do. And so I walked in the door this morning, I sat down, I did distribute all the work to my staff that needed things done for clients so that my clients weren't being disadvantaged. But then I turned everything else off and I did this one worksheet that I needed to do. It's now up with the graphic designer and I'm still 6 weeks off starting this course. So for me, it will be back probably tomorrow. I can proofread it. Tomorrow's task is I have a second sheet that I need to design. And so it's all done. And so my 90-day action plan, so we started this action plan on the 1st of April because I need everything done 30th of June, ready for my 2 courses to start on the 1st of July. My 90 days was mapping out everything that I needed to do. I've done my sales page. I've done my marketing stuff. I'm putting together the modules now that I need to do. So by the time I get to June, I will be able to seamlessly move straight into the courses. It's important because I didn't feel the overwhelm. I just broke it down into 90 days. I do work on the weekends. Some people don't, and that's okay. So your 90 days may not be 90 days if you take out your Saturdays and Sundays. But all I did was I just mapped out then all the tasks that I needed to do to reach my goal, which then makes me work forward to that 1,000 people that I want to get into my courses. So that's what a business plan does. It gives you all the things that you need to do. So I know that sounds like a lot of work, and I'm going to wrap this up now. I'm not quite sure how long I've been going, but I do love to talk about business, so sometimes I go a bit long, but it does sound like a lot of work, but it's not really. As I said, we do these sessions with our clients in 4 hours, and that hard work that you put in will give your business direction, and your business is too valuable to let it fly by the seat of your pants. So take affirmative action and treat your business like it should be. So I am going to wrap that up because it has been a long episode, so I'm really sorry about that. But just as I'm so passionate about helping small businesses, and I'm passionate about businesses giving their business owners the life that they want. So that's it. If you want a copy of our 12 square business plan, please reach out to me. And if not, I'll either see you on Thursday where we're going to do our personal finance podcast. This week's podcast is on why money matters. So if you think that might be of interest to you, I'll see you on Thursday. If not, I will love to see you next Tuesday. I keep going to say Wednesday. So see you next Tuesday where we will go through a really great thing for your business and how you can help your business grow. Keep an eye out for my 2 new courses that's coming. The Freedom Formula, which is my 4-week intensive, is great for small business owners that just want to get hold of all the good stuff so they can get their business moving. And Pathways to Profit is my new course that will start on the 1st of July, which will be a self-paced module with Zooms and everything from me. So if there's something that you're interested in, reach out to us here at hello@jenrichardson.co or put a comment below and we'll come back to you with some information. So have a lovely week, and I'll either see you this Thursday or next Tuesday. Have a great one. Bye. Remember, the advice shared in Dollars and Dreams is general in nature and it does not consider your own personal circumstances. Dollars and Dreams is for educational purposes only and should not be relied upon to make investment or financial decisions. If you need more help, please reach out to a financial advisor for tailored personal advice. Don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. And please leave me a review. Your feedback really helps me to reach other people chasing their money dreams. You can find me over on Facebook and Instagram to connect with me. You will find the link in the bio or head over to my website at jenrichardson.co where you will find free content and learning tools.